Hey guys, Alex Hutchings here, and you're watching Guitar Autopsy.
So welcome to another exciting episode of Guitar Autopsy. I'm your host, Rusty Cooley, and my co-host, Zach Adkins, are here. We're coming from an undisclosed bunker buried deep inside your mind. And today we have none other than Alex Hutchings on the show. There you go.
That was great.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring him on.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you
we're
too.
getting a little bit of a late start. It's my fault. This is early for me.
Yeah, no worries, man.
You know what I mean? So I guess you're about 6 or 7 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
So how's your day been? Good?
yeah, not too bad. I didn't email this to you guys because I didn't want to dwell on it, but I'm kind of recovering from COVID right now. So it's I've been feeling better. Put it that way.
Yeah.
My I can't smell or taste anything, and
Really?
it's really the weirdest feeling I can try and describe, man. Like I said, I didn't want to dwell on it, but I'm just letting you guys
Sure.
know. So I didn't want to cancel because that would be a pain, you know. But fortunately it's been about 5-6 days, so I'm kind of coming through it, I think. But yeah, man, it's that's been a little bit horrific.
Yeah. So, well, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show at a short notice, for
Yeah,
sure.
of course, man.
All things considered. And, I've talked to a bunch of different people, and again, we don't want to dwell on this, obviously, but
Mm.
I've talked to many people that have had it, and I hear mixed things from how bad or how mild it is.
Yes, totally.
And it sounds like you got a pretty intense case.
Well, yeah, man. I guess everyone's body is different, you know, and these strange kind of variants going around and whatnot. I literally have no idea where it could have come from. I guess that's why it's so dangerous, you know. The world slowly opening up. I've had my jabs and all that crap, but I've just done like 3 gigs and that's it, or maybe 4 or 5. I don't know, max. In small places. So it's not like I've been out with 10,000 people and yet it still happened, you know? So
You think it's
crazy.
probably, it might be easier to get if you're in a smaller place than if you're
Mm.
playing a bigger venue where you're more
Yeah,
separated from people, you know what I mean?
maybe, man.
Um,
But yeah, crazy.
Me and my girlfriend just went to a show, and before we could get backstage to see our friends, we had to take COVID tests right there on the spot to make sure we
No
didn't have it.
way.
Yeah, and then we had to wear a mask
Whoa.
backstage the whole time.
Oh,
It was pretty crazy,
Heavy.
So I guess that's what it's come down to nowadays, for bands and people to actually get out and play live. If you're going to act with your
Yeah,
fans or friends, you're going to have to do that kind
sure.
of stuff. And I guess it's smart, protecting the artists, because if the artists get it, then they can't tour,
That's
you
right.
know. And we all want to get back out there and play, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, in the short term, at least, let's hope it will disappear at some point in our futures, you know?
For sure, or become very manageable, one of the two.
yeah.
So who are you gigging with right now?
Well, I'm just doing some local small little jazz gigs, and actually the funny thing about that is I'm not even doing it under my own name because I want it to be inconspicuous. You know,
Okay.
it's like the opposite of maybe what most people want, but I don't want people coming
I see.
because I'm just, you know, it's an area of my playing that I really want to work on, and yeah, the jazz kind of side of things, and I've neglected it for too many years, and so there's this little kind of local gig, and I just called them up and said, hey, you know, if you need some depths, and now I've managed to get like a regular 1 gig a week, which is awesome because the thing that's awesome about it is that it's given me a focus, and I'm sure you guys would share this sentiment, or most players anyway, that for me anyway, I should speak for myself, but the thing I care about most is improving, getting better all the time, you know,
Yeah,
and pushing
absolutely.
myself and not like resting on any laurels, you know. And so for me, the worst part of my playing, in my opinion, is my facility around jazz standards and that kind of stuff. And I'm just getting into that vibe right now. So it's great having that focus, learning new repertoire. And I'm just excited to be doing that, all whilst no one knows I'm going. So I've got a fake name.
Right. There you go. That's awesome. So let me ask you, and there's no better way to hold yourself accountable to learning this style and broadening your chops with this style than having to report to a gig every week. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's holding yourself accountable. I have to work on this stuff now.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to show up and get fired, or, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know? So I mean, jazz is such a huge spectrum or genre of music. What area of stuff are you playing with this band?
Yeah.
What style are you doing? You know, I know you mentioned jazz standards, but are you playing like a big hollow body?
No, I'm
round
playing
wounds?
this.
Okay, so it's a little bit fusiony, or is it still all jazz?
It's interesting because, of course, description is very subjective in itself. So what I would say is the material is just flat out jazz standards, right? But to define how I'm playing on it may be different because I'm definitely not playing like a standard jazz player because I can't. And so I would say that I play in my style, you know, which whatever that is. So in moments, you know, I'm not afraid to chuck some distortion on. So for example, right, I'm going to be putting some of this kind of stuff on my channel, hopefully at some point, but I've got this cool system where I'm playing bass and guitar at the same time. Check this out. So can you hear the difference if I play it without the bass? Mm-hmm. So I can play the low stuff, loop it, and then play with the top of it.
So what are you using to do that?
Well, this guitar has got the that divided pickup thing.
Okay. Yep.
Synth pickup, and I've got an old GR55 Roland thing, which is just got the two bass strings on, and then when I want a solo, I take it off, and then I'm in my regular. But you see, sometimes I just want to play with a little sustain, so I might do something like. You know, whatever.
So
that kind of stuff.
That's super cool, man. So that's all from the Roland. That little pickup, is that part of the Roland synth?
That's right. Yeah, it's called. Well, it's called a GK whatever pickup.
Okay.
GK3 or something. Yeah.
Now, who's that made by? Is that made by Roland?
It's a Roland thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And this guitar is actually 10 years old. It's just one that I worked with the guys in Japan, and
sure.
You know, it's a Strat. It's
right.
A Fender that they put the stuff in there,
right?
And it's just convenient.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
So with while you're using the synth, you can still put distortion on your guitar.
Absolutely,
and it won't affect that pickup at all. It still comes out completely clean. So are you running that thing through a completely different amplifier?
No, everything is in the box. So I just turn up with this GR55 and the loop pedal, and the beauty with that is that I can do it like a stripped down duo. So for example, me and a violin player or me and a sax player.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's how I'm doing it. So what happens is, you know, they always play the head, right? So I'm like 3, 4 or whatever. Then they're blasting away. I then record in the background, and then when they're done doing the solo, then I can choose to solo or record a different section. And then when I come to solo, I can kind of recool all the different sections, and it's a lot of fun.
So when you say record, you mean like a looper? A
looping, yeah. So yeah. I've got this loop pedal. It's called the RC300. It's pretty old. Again, it's about 10 years old, but it just works, all this stuff.
Right.
I got newer stuff, but this I just like because of the way it is. So you've got 3 different sections that you can play. And honestly, it's just so much fun. And the point is, no one knows that I'm doing it. They do maybe now, but
Yeah.
you know, so I have had there's a few musicians that have been sort of dining in their place, and they're like, and I've had like questions, people like trying to look up the pseudonym name, and they're like,
Yes.
they don't know much about this
Never
guy.
seen you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, at some point I'll probably get thwarted, but anyway.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, but see, you didn't tell your pseudonym name on here.
I didn't.
So nobody knows how to look it up.
That's
Or
right.
if they see the name, they won't know it's you playing.
Yeah, or where the hell I'm playing. So
Yeah, there you go, man. That's pretty cool, man.
But that's what I'm doing at the moment.
So the little bit of licks and stuff you played sound very authentic. So whatever you're doing sounds very good, man. I like it.
Oh, appreciate it. I just, I guess, you know, I've always loved the sound of jazz. So I've never had any official lessons or anything. So I've just tried to interpret what I understand as sort of jazz, or how to get that sound, and you know, understanding like altered tensions and diminished scales, and you know, augmented stuff or whatever, and just to kind of spice up the shred and spice up just general guitar playing, you know?
Yeah, man, that's very cool.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say my question about that was like, how would you approach if somebody asked you like, I want to get into jazz, I want to get into that whole vibe, but I'm kind of more of a metal guy. What would your advice be to that person? Like, what would be their first steps, you think?
Honestly, I think the important thing is you have to sort of love it. You know, I think you have to listen first and foremost to something that turns you on, you know, because I think, and start there, because Rusty, as you mentioned, like there's so many millions of different types of jazz or types of music generally. I personally try not to kind of classify it any style too much. I like what I like, and I don't really care what it's called. So, for example, it might be some crazy, you know, jazz piano player, or he might even be more of a progressive piano player. It doesn't really matter. But if there's some cool licks going on, it's like, right, I want to get that into my playing, or a saxophone player or whatever. And I grew up playing a little bit of saxophone as well, so I think that has influenced my musicianship. I had some like Charlie Parker books that I was reading on the saxophone, and then I would like try and nick some ideas on the guitar, you know.
Sure. Do you still read a lot?
Oh man, I'm a terrible reader. But I mean, that being said, you know, I got this chart, like some charts here that I've got to record. So when I feel a bit better.
Now with the charts, is it straight up chord charts, or is it got melody lines in there where you actually have to read treble clef?
Oh yeah, no, it's stuff like that. I mean, it's not too crazy. I don't know if you can see.
Okay, I got you. Yeah,
this kind of stuff.
Okay.
So you know.
Well, that's now. Can you just like flat out read that? Like,
I wish, man.
Okay.
No, I mean,
I was gonna say that's better reading than I can do. I mean, I used to read better when I was in school, but I haven't had to do it in 20 plus years. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So
I think there's a clear distinction between being able to read and sight reading.
Oh, completely.
You know?
Yes.
And I'm an absolute shit sight reader. Yeah. No questions.
Yeah.
But I can read.
Yes.
So, you know, this dude sent me the chart, and, you know, I can figure it out. But then again, these days, it's so much better, obviously, having audio. We can just send an MP3, and that does help. But I do, with some very complex piece of music like this, I do follow the chart, because it saves a hell of a lot of time with sort of memorizing stuff, and like you can count the bars, you know where you're supposed to play, and it really does help. So yeah, I've been trying to get into reading a little bit more, so it's kind of fun doing stuff like this.
Yeah, that's something I would definitely like to get back into, but it's like, you know, there's only so many hours in the day, and you got to pick and choose what are the things that are most relevant to your playing now that you know that you have to be on top of. Absolutely. Whereas, you know, I want to know how to read more for myself, not for a gig or teaching or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, teaching would help, you know what I mean? It would be an option. And I mean, I could certainly teach somebody a beginner to sight read. But, you know, not too far beyond that, you know, because I can read, but I'm not a good sight reader, just like you said. You know, I mean, there's a complete distinction between that, you know, no doubt. You know, just being able to read the notes on a page doesn't mean you can put it on the instrument. You know? But that's cool. And you said something earlier that I totally relate to. You mentioned that you said, well, I don't know if a jazz player would call what I do as jazz, right? And that's the same thing. It's like, for me as a guitar player, I try to draw a little bit from multiple sources, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if like I tell I got a lot of metal students in there. I tell them, it's like, look, man, if all you do is listen to metal, guess what you're going to sound like? You're just going to regurgitate metal. The guys that are true innovators have found their roots and drawn from many other styles, so listen to a little bit of everything. So, I've never per se wanted to be a fusion player or a jazz player or a country player, but I want to know what those guys do. So I can utilize those elements in my music and bring it back and push it through and, let it become something new and unique that, maybe rock players or metal players or whatever haven't heard it in that, presented in such a way,
You know what I think is funny is whenever you play like just like a C major 7 chord or something to just like a random musician who isn't anything about, they don't know anything about jazz or whatever, but they're always like, oh, that's really jazzy. And then you're yeah, I guess like it's just a C major 7 chord, but they're like, oh, you sound so jazzy. And it's like, well, you played like 2 chords that aren't a power chord, and they're like, that's jazz. So then, but there's that whole other world of jazz that you can go down or whatever. And I think like with you, Alex, like most people would consider you a jazz fusion player, right? Like, just like people that actually know who you are, not just random people that happen to play guitar. But, but for you, you're like, oh no, I wouldn't consider myself a jazz player or what most people would consider jazz. So I think that's funny how what you do is interpreted different than what you actually think you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. It is funny because I feel like a complete hack at jazz, and I'm like a fake, basically. I grew up listening to like Metallica, Pantera, all the heavy shit as well, so to me, I'm a rocker, but I just love jazz too. And I think everyone forms their own opinion, of course, and everyone's entitled to do exactly that. And I suppose that it depends on how you present yourself as well. It's just that I guess in the recent times, I've tried to learn more of that kind of jazzier repertoire, and I suppose that has been coming out. But my roots are rock, and I love rock as well. How the hell can you play guitar and not love rock?
Right? Yeah, for sure, man.
So yeah, I mean,
and it's cool. You could take some of those licks that you were playing earlier and put that into some kind of rock tune. Break the chords down so they're not so dense. You know what I mean? Intense, flavored. But and you could apply that easily. I've heard a lot of guitar players that'll mix like rock and metal players that'll infuse like bebop licks and Charlie Parker right out of the Omni book and stuff. It's really cool. I think Sean Lane did a little bit of that as well.
Man.
He did a little bit of everything anyway. But
oh, absolutely, yeah, what a dude.
Yeah, it's Zach. You were saying earlier about how you'll play a C major 7th chord or something like that, and people instantly, well, not everybody, but a lot of people will go, oh, that sounds jazzy, and I get the same thing. And it's like, and for me, it's like I try to tell my students and other people, it's like, well, a chord is not a style; it's what you make it. It's how you use it.
Yeah.
So
right. And of course, I'm talking about people that maybe are into music, or they've maybe have played a little bit, but they don't really go down that rabbit hole like most guitar players do. But just people like, take like my brother, for example. He plays music, but he'll always be like, "Oh, that sounds jazzy," and I'm like, "Well, it's just a C major 7 chord. I don't know. I don't know." He's like, jazz. "Oh, it just sounds like jazz." Like, okay.
Then your next question should be: have you actually ever heard any jazz?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
He listens to like Cannibal Corpse, so no, probably not. But
well, then I guess a C major 7th chord would be jazzy. No.
Yeah, but it is fascinating though, because in one way, maybe there's something in that, just like that pure difference. Because we're literally talking about one note, which is the B natural on a C. Because you could arguably play a C power chord, and just by adding that one note, it elicits an emotional response. So whether people just go, "Oh, that sounds jazzy," or whatever, it has a sound, So like, for example, that,
sure. Yeah.
It's like, you don't hear that often in pop stuff, like you might hear an octave in a melody, but you don't hear.
Yeah.
And it is a cool interval, and it makes you feel a certain way, and you also don't hear. not
Right.
since the Hendrix days, at least.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was just going to mention that. It's like when Hendrix plays a 7-sharp-9 chord, the Jimi Hendrix chord. You know, you don't. I don't think of jazz. I think of blues.
No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
you know.
it's it's kind of how you use it as well. But still, it still is fascinating how even non-musical people. I think that's the beauty of music. Like we were saying earlier about the interpretation of how it's individual to every single person. Like you can't say necessarily that something's good or bad. If it speaks to someone else. I mean, I suppose you can, but what I mean. There's
Sure.
levels. So, and I think that's the beauty of it. There's so many billions of things out there. And for me, the way I define what I think is good or maybe that it does, it's not that I think it's good or bad. It's good or it doesn't necessarily appeal to me. And that's how I look at it, right?
Sure.
So what I deem as something good is, can I feel the person's heart and passion behind what they're doing? That's how I listen. That's what gets me going. So that could be, a singer, it could be a badass guitar player, an amazing sax player, piano player, killer drum solo, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel that sort of human passion behind it, then I'm like, yeah, man, that's cool. And that's how I define music personally.
Sure. Just purely organic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's authentic.
Yeah, basically.
Because anybody can run through the notes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's cool, man. So I was watching a little bit of a video of yours last night, and two things. You've got a new signature model guitar.
Yeah, it's behind
And
me.
the other thing is, in that video, I believe you said you're working on heavier style music right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about both of those.
Yeah. Oh, I'll grab the guitar first. It's pretty nuts. I thought I might get asked.
Yeah,
Here
man.
she is.
Sweet.
Can I see the back of it?
Yeah, sure.
Nice. I like how the neck is with the red into the black. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't think to show this on the video, I guess.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
never bothered to put the back plates on because it's a pain
Looks
in
like
the
you
ass.
got a lot of electronics in that guitar.
You know what? Tom, who builds these, it was hilarious because he put the battery in and then he kind of was like, what the hell? What's the battery for again? And basically, I can't even remember. It might be something so stupid like the light or something. I can't remember. But anyway,
Now, so there's no actives in this guitar.
no, there's not. So it's again, it's got this GK pickup that I mentioned in the Strat,
Right.
which these two pickups can control, and then I got a 3-way and a split here.
I know, although there's a split on the guitar.
Oh, it's this little thing here.
Okay. I
Yeah.
got you. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
They actually
that-
make that button you used for the split.
Yeah.
There's a company that makes buttons like that the ring around it will light up.
Yeah, right. There's the light
Okay, I see.
engaged
Nice.
when you plug it in. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, real quick, one more thing about the back of the guitar. You had two cuts, like where you plug your guitar in. What are both of
that's
those
good.
for?
Yeah. So there's the
Okay,
don't know.
I see.
There's the 13 pin, and then there's
Okay.
the regular. Yeah.
Okay, so that's for the pickup, the GK. Is that what it's?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you. Nice.
Yeah, and I just went a little wild. I'm like, dude, I need a red guitar and a red neck.
Nice.
Hook
That's
me up.
Cool. Yeah.
It's just bird's eye maple, but because
Okay,
it's been
dyed.
so dyed,
Yeah.
and
That's
they got
sick,
the little
dude.
markers in there. Yeah, man. Thanks.
What's the
Yeah.
fret wire?
It's I think it's stainless steel. Is it
Okay.
maybe jumbo or medium? I can't remember.
Okay, is they pretty
unfortunately.
tall frets?
Yeah, pretty
Nice,
high.
man.
How many frets?
26,
26. Nice.
of course. Yeah, man. I'm not fucking around.
No.
And I went all Brian May on it as well because you notice I got 3 on the 12th
I
and
see.
and
Nice.
2. So and that's
Very
mirrored in the side there. Look at
I
that.
see. Very nice, dude. I like it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It looks like the dots on the side are different colors.
Yeah, they're black and red, yeah, as well.
Nice.
So I'll give
So,
you the 12
who
fret.
makes this guitar?
It's a chap named Tom Waghorn, and he's like a local dude to Bristol where I live.
Okay.
And the short story goes, in about 2011, I'd been playing Music Man for about 10 years. Yeah, I was considering doing a sort of an artist deal with Music Man, and we were just sort of emailing a little bit. And then something said to me, look, I've been playing them for 10 years. I've got a couple of them. I'd like to kind of mess with a design. So I went to him and just said, like, if you can make me a better guitar or my kind of dream guitar, I'll play that. But the deal is it has to be good enough. Otherwise, I'd be silly to play it, you know? So we started on that kind of journey, and we're sort of 5 guitars in. And, you know, I've been having fun having that opportunity, you know, to just play around with the design of a guitar. And but here's the beautiful thing about it for me. I'm not tied to play anything. Like, you notice I was playing a Strat just now. I got a load of Ibanez guitars I love. You know, I've got 50 guitars. So I don't feel like I'm obliged to play anything. I just play whatever I feel. So,
right.
So, that's cool.
With this guy, is it like an official endorsement artist deal, or is it just you had him build your model for you?
Yeah, well, this is, like I said, this is the 5th one. So, you know, like, for example, I've got this. This is a Telly one that I used on my tour.
I like that for sure.
Yeah, thanks, man. And it's got this crazy nut, which I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a sec. And then I got falling down here. And then I got my 8-string version here.
Oh, sick,
wow.
dude. That's low F sharp, right?
Yeah, man. And it's even got black strings and shit on there, so that's cool.
Look at you, man.
I got another one here. Let's see. I'm just swimming in guitars here.
Yeah.
Here's one of the Frank Gambalis.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool.
The classic. And then just for prosperity, I've got my Music Man here as well.
Nice.
Which I actually won in a competition. So on the back it has a plaque. So this is only one of one in the world.
Wow. Nice, dude.
So
I remember, that's the guitar I kind of remember you playing. I think you used that in a lot of your old videos with Jam Track.
That's right, man. Yeah, that was the classic one that I used this like exclusively for 10 years really. This exact one, yeah. So I do, and I still love it. I'll never get rid of it, of course. Yeah, man. And so, what's this beast you got here then?
This is one of my Ormsby signature models.
Yeah, man. Looks serious.
See that?
Yeah,
see if
lovely.
I can get that in the shot there.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
And
I love that green.
Yeah, it's got 27 frets on this guy. So I got you by 1, man.
You fucking beat me, man. What the hell?
Super sick headstock, man. I love that. It's just like
that's cool. Yeah,
totally metal. Yeah, it's you know what? This is one that they built me kind of as a surprise. So I'm not even. I think this is Buckeye Burl on top. I'm not 100% sure what the back is. It might be. It doesn't look like mahogany. I don't know if you can see that or not. It kind of looks like it might be alder or something. I'm not sure.
It's cool.
I don't know if you guys can tell from looking at that or not.
No.
I can't.
Cool stripe down the neck.
Is that a 3-piece neck, or is it just painted?
No, it is. It's actually more than 3-piece. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-piece neck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what you can't see is that right here after the green, there's a piece of wood, and then it's.
Oh, I can kind of see.
I think this is Babinga. I think right here, and then
because your standard ones are maple, Wenge, and maple.
Yes. Yeah.
5-piece.
Right.
You know what? I have to join the party here real quick because on the back of this is a 9-piece neck.
Oh,
dang.
Nice.
So
everybody's one-upping each other here.
Exactly.
Yeah,
check this shit out.
Yeah.
There's 3 in each one of those.
Nice.
It's hard to show you, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's a 9-piece, and I think it's Wenge and Paduk as well. So same sort of.
So look at the headstock on this if I can get it in the shot. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
But there's that's I don't know. There's this piece on the top. There's the side piece, and then there's 3 pieces up here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 on that. So that's pretty sick too, man. I don't know. I can't get it lined up. I'm such a moron into that shit. But,
that's cool, man.
But yeah, man, it's got the all-access neck joint and heel. So, and it's got the extra deep and wide cutaway, so I can get up here and have all access to all 27 frets.
Sweet.
And You know,
And I
no
have
point
one.
having the frets if you can't get to them. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You know.
Similar to this 8 as well. You see, this neck is actually the sister neck to that
I see.
guitar. It's exactly the same piece of woods.
Nice.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can see that a bit more clearly,
Oh,
hopefully.
yeah, very
Yeah.
nice, man. That's like,
Yeah.
how many pieces is that?
This is
8
the
also?
same nine pieces
Nine
as well.
pieces.
Yeah, and it goes all the way up to the back, up the top there.
Yeah.
And you see it at the end,
Right.
sort of thing.
Yeah, that's like, you can see that better on one of these. Actually, this one just has it like this on it.
Yeah, nice.
Goes all the way
So-
through.
Are yours 7s, right?
Yes, these are
sevens?
all 7s.
Yeah, cool. And you have a low B, I guess.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I have 2 of Rusty's signatures.
Oh
got-
man, that's badass. Look at that.
The blue marble.
Yeah,
And then I got back
that is
here.
killer.
I've got, because this was, and I've talked about this on the show before, but not with you, obviously. But this, I didn't even know that this was Rusty's signature when I first saw it, because they just posted it on Instagram, and I was like, oh
Mhm.
my god, that would be the guitar I wanted. And then I found out it was Rusty's. And then I
Right.
got the purple. Is this flamed maple? I think.
Yeah. Where?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
On the
yeah.
purple one. Yeah. It's so the purple one. This purple one is my wedding ring, actually.
Nice.
Because I got married last Halloween, and my wife, I told her I don't wear jewelry or anything, and so she's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I want a guitar." So
Sweet.
we ordered one of these, and I love it, man. It's probably one of my favorite guitars.
Here's one of my favorites, the orange.
Oh, and the orange
Oh.
is badass too, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Man, you guys are killing me with your sick guitars.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking sick, man.
Dude, well, you got
Yeah.
freaking sweet guitars too. Like,
They're just different, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I like about your guitars is you have unique and innovative ideas on it, and that's what I'm all about. You know what I
Right.
mean? I've always fought with the guitar growing up, and that's what all my signature models have been about through the years.
Yeah.
And even before I had signature models, I had custom made guitars by local guys, and it was always about getting the guitar out of my way from a playability
Yeah,
standpoint. It was like
Totally.
always
Absolutely.
too fat a neck, or the cutaway wasn't deep enough, or it was deep enough and it's not wide
Yes.
enough. It's got to have the depth, and this one's got a broken string on it, but it's got to have the depth and the width. So if it's deep but it doesn't have the it doesn't matter, you can't stretch still, you know what I mean? So you gotta get up here
100%.
and make these big stretches and get out, have the instrument out of your way, because when you play these guitars, the only limitations you have are the ones you set on yourself. You can never make an excuse anymore. So, it's the guitar, the neck's not too fat, or the frets are too small, or and these come with the big, super tall frets. I think they're the tallest ones you can get.
and it is a slight multi-scale as well.
Yeah, it's just very slight. It's 25.5 on the high E side to 26.2.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't want anything drastic. I don't think it really needs too much for a 7-string. You know what I mean? The tension's still pretty much there.
But
And
it
it's got
does
slight
help a
scallop
little
on it
bit.
too.
Just
I don't know if you can see the scallop on it.
Yeah, I noticed
It's
that.
just a slight scallop.
Like
It
a
starts
half
at the
scallop,
tw-
yeah.
It starts at the 12th fret, and then it works its way up to about the 4th string here, and then it goes back down. And that makes it very seamless when you're playing it. I had a guitar years ago that had the last 4 frets scalloped, and that always felt super weird to me, because I'm playing the whole neck and all of a sudden I get to the last 4 frets and it feels different.
Yes,
With the way this is scalloped, it's such a subtle thing. It gradually goes into it and comes out of it. You only feel the benefit of it, not the weirdness, or it's different here all of a sudden. Now my playing feels weird,
Yeah, man.
So it's a very subtle thing and very well done. You know what I mean? Just for the symmetry. I got a kill switch. I got a kill switch on mine.
Sweet.
Nothing like fancy like yours, dude. But
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on your 8-string, do you have it tuned with a low B to a high A?
No, I have a low F sharp.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about your tuning. You tune it. You don't tune like a traditional guitar tuning.
No.
E A D G B E, correct? You tune a little bit differently. If
Yeah,
you could explain that a little bit, because I've had a lot of people I see in the comments asking about how you have your guitar, because you're not playing the same pattern, and then people go, I don't know what the hell he's doing. So I'm
nor do I
curious.
half the time. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So here's let me take one ear off so I can hear what I'm doing here. Here's my standard tuning. Okay, so that is if you were to tune up on the 5th string all the way, that's me.
Okay, so hold up real quick. Real quick. Before you tell us actually what it is,
Yes.
Zach, did you already hear what those two high strings were?
Well, I think it's an F sharp, maybe.
What? The
Or-
B or E?
Oh God, hang on. Let me think.
Play those two strings for him again.
Sure.
High two.
From the bottom. Oh shit! Sorry.
Let's see.
Oral test.
Is it a? I don't know. Is it a?
Oh, come on, dude. You know this.
I know. Hang on. My brain stopped. Because it's from the G, right? The G you're tuning differently.
Mm.
Or no, not the G, the B, I mean. So it's like a C and then an F? The C and an F?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So, like I say, if you were to tune from the
oh, well, I guess I could have done that. I'm sitting here trying to guess the note.
So it's okay. So that's in straight fourths.
That's correct.
And the high, so the high's an F.
See, it would have taken me a whole lot less time if I would have just counted the frets.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to guess the note in my head.
I've never experimented with that tuning, but I've thought about it before. I've heard about some other guitar players doing it as well. I don't know if you've ever.
Yeah.
I think Robert Fripp has his own tuning as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're
He
familiar
does
with
it
that.
in fifths.
And that, but
So-
isn't the high string different? Isn't it not a fifth or something in his tuning? Or is it straight
think
fifths?
You might be right. There may be a third on top or something weird like
Something
that.
weird, yeah.
But essentially, I'll try and simplify it in quick terms as possible. Okay, so for example, if I play an E chord, right, it sounds like this. If I then put it down to this string, exactly the same shape, it's A major.
Yes.
And exactly the same D major. If I play an E7, and then it's an A7, then a D7, an E minor,
The chord shapes stay the same.
D minor.
Now, what does that do? Bar chords still function if you were to choose to play that sort of thing?
I could play A minor here.
Across all strings?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a straight A minor, D minor. E, like this E, basically,
Okay.
but like that.
Okay, so you have to change the shape a little bit, though.
Yeah, so all I'm doing is changing that bit to there.
Oh, okay, so you're doing a reverse bar.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
However, when I decided to change, I don't really ever play bar chords, so
Right.
I'm like, I don't need them
Yeah.
really. Obviously I play power chords, and that's cool because they're all the same. So, for example, if I want to play, they're all the same here.
Yeah. Now, so for your scales and like arpeggios and stuff, that means that you don't have to switch up a half step or whole step when you get to the B string anymore,
Exactly.
right? Could
yeah.
you show us a couple of examples of scales?
Yeah. So simple E triad on the top, right? Same here. So whatever shape you can think of, like this one as well, it's the same. So all your shapes are the same. If you do, I don't know, let me see what key we're in here. Let's say D. So let's take that as a D minor.
Oh, cool.
Dude, that's sick, man.
Interesting.
That kind of stuff.
What about just like a standard, like a C major scale or something? Like three note per string type thing.
Yeah, let me just check. I'm in tune real quick. I didn't prepare quite.
Sorry.
So what did we say? C major?
Just some kind of standard 3 note per string.
Right. Now,
So
just for the folks
sing.
at home, play a really simple version, just straight across and back, real slow. Now,
Yeah.
all 6 strings too, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Let me turn it up a little bit.
Nice. So it just keeps everything nice and almost
That's
not
right.
really almost
Yeah.
symmetrical, but not in the sense of like a diminished
Why are we
scale.
not doing it that way?
Exactly. Tell me about it. Now, here's the other thing. So, for example, the beloved pentatonic, right? Check this out. You know the first bit. That's all the same too.
So what does that do to your one position box when you get to the first 2 strings?
Yeah, you go whoop a little bit like
Okay,
this.
so you go over a half step. Okay.
Come in.
Right,
It's just back a fret.
But you see, the point is, you don't always have to do that because you
Right.
can go. Let me see. I mean, and also, in terms of the whole boxes and all that thing, I try to not think of that anyway. So, for example, when I think C major, I try to see the entire neck. So,
right.
I'm sure most of you guys do as well. But so if I'm thinking C major, I just sort of going on any note really. Anything, trying to think outside of the boxes in order that it doesn't, I don't get sort of stuck in those things.
Sure,
And
understood.
that's definitely something that I do with my students too, is I don't like, learn the boxes just so that way when you're watching people play, you'll know what they're doing. But let's go horizontal as well and find your notes going up the neck and back, and just having them do that, their solos improve instantly because they're thinking more melodically instead of because they just think of it in that way. So I kind of like that. I have been thinking about tuning one of my guitars in fourths, and I don't know if I can do it because then I feel like I have to rethink my whole life, and I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that yet.
Well,
you know what? Oh, sorry, man.
No, go ahead. You're good.
No, just real quick. I was going to say I remember because I played in standard tuning for 15 years. Like I haven't always played this way, so
right.
I know distinctively that moment of changing. It took me about a year to think about it, and of considering it, and then. In fact, the story goes, I was on the way to see Frank Gambale play in Scotland, and I was on the plane. It's only an hour from where I live, and on the plane, I was drawing out all the charts of the guitar in fourth, really thinking about it. And I landed, and we were hanging out after the show, and I said to him, man, I'm really thinking about tuning in fourths. And this is the most nuts thing that Frank said to me in this moment, and I won't ever forget it. And he was like, why would you do that? You've already mastered the guitar. And I was like, fuck. And that was like 15 years ago or something like that. And that was such a amazing moment that he would say such a thing. And I said, oh, wow, thanks, man. But still, I just feel like it feels like it makes so much sense. And even though my playing is going to kind of come down a peg or two, I feel like over time, it should hopefully, as I improve, like I was saying at the beginning, I want to always improve. That should help me improve in the areas I want to.
Sure. Now, having said that, doesn't Frank Gambale have his own tuning that he uses now?
Yes. He experimented again about 15 years ago with, I can't remember what he called it now.
The Gambale tuning or something.
Yeah. It's a variation on the Nashville tuning. It's Nashville tuning in reverse. And I remember jamming on his double neck when he was coming up with it, and it's a high that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think the top 2 strings or maybe 3 are down an octave, not up. So it's like I say, the reverse. And what that means is you play your regular chords, but these 2 notes are there. So you get these crazy like close voicing, so it's very clever.
Isn't that more complex of a way to think? Then just changing your top 2 strings to fourths.
Yeah, although he didn't play exclusively in that way. It was more as an accompaniment, I think.
I see. I was going to say, Frank, your advice has backfired. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Be thinking about doing that and didn't want you to steal his thunder.
No, I don't know, man. No, not at all. But anyway, so yeah, but my main point is I remember the angst when I was ready to change, and I thought about it for a year. I mentioned it to a few people, and then I just thought, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, and I just did it. Like a few days later, I said, no, I'm gonna do this, and I just all or nothing. I just stopped playing in standard tuning and just went for it. And believed in it, you know.
So
that was it.
Let me ask you a question. So say you have several years of repertoire behind you from old bands or albums that you still have to play that material. So does that mean you relearn all of your old stuff in the new tuning?
Yeah, but you know what? It's not that bad because it's once you convert a couple of things, it's fine. You know, like it all because really the bottom 4 strings are all the same anyway. So that. You're 2/3 already home and dry. It's just the top bit.
Yeah. Well, so I'm definitely going to experiment with that myself now.
So am I.
I'm super curious.
Have a play.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll find it fun. For example, you know, like if you take something like, I don't know, like a Sean Laney vibe, you know, when he's going, you know, all that stuff is the same. So, you know, if you're, it all, you know what I mean? It's all the same stuff. So you don't have to change, you know, like diminish.
You don't have to worry about that B string thing anymore.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. Not that I really play like that too much, but if you wanted to, you know, you could do that stuff, you know, all that kind of gubbins. It's all the same.
Yeah. Nice, man.
It seems like the rewards outweigh the risks on that to me. Like, you know, like the risk of, okay, yeah, you're going to have to come down a little bit in your playing. You're going to have to take a step back. But I think that just from an idea of you never have to shift that one fret and then worry about that, it might help you in some cases. And I'm already thinking in my head about, you know, everybody jams, like you'll say you're playing an E major on a standard guitar. A lot of people float the high B and E string in their solos to give that kind of ethereal sound and that wide open. But I guess with this, if you're playing, what were the 2 notes again? I forgot.
C and F.
And C and F. Then you could play in the key of C and float the C and F string instead and have some really cool solos.
Yeah. You know, and I think I have an 8-string guitar signature model from my past deal, and it's got a high A string on it.
Yeah.
So I think that tuning would really, I think that tuning would really benefit from that because it gets really weird once you hit the B string. Then everything shifts over for 3 strings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It would make that 8 string straight across would be pretty sick.
Exactly, and I remember seeing you with that 8 high A, you know, and thinking how cool that was back in the day. And when I got my 8 string, should I say? No, let me back up. One of the other reasons I decided to change is because of the symmetry on an 8 string. So even when I was about 16 years old, right, I saw an 8 string guitar in a book, an electric 8 string by a guy called the Manson Brothers. Have you heard of them?
I don't think so.
Oh man, they might be worth a Google because there's some dudes that live down south here, and I went to the library, if you remember those things, back then, and I got this guitar book, and it was the history of the guitar. And what was cool as hell was the last bunch of pages were on these Manson brothers, right, and the crazy guitars they've built, and just this one page was my favorite page, and they had a sick 36 fret 8 string, and I called them up when I was 19, right, asking them to build me one, and they were like, yeah man, not a problem, but I couldn't afford it. And it was like, it wasn't even that much money, and because they're quite famous now, like that would have been worth God knows probably now. They built Matt Bellamy's guitar from Muse, and they build for a lot of these guys, and what's the bass player from Zeppelin and all those kind of guys? John Paul Jones or whatever. So they've done some good level stuff, and the most crazy instrument they've ever built and you've got to check this out, is one called the Mermaid, and it's a life-size mermaid guitar.
Holy cow.
Which is playable, an acoustic guitar. And I think they were trying to sell it for like a few million or whatever.
Holy cow.
But yeah, that's cool as hell.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't heard of them as much as I've played extended range guitars.
Yeah, check it out, man.
Yeah, have you heard of Conklin Guitars?
Yes.
Yes, so that was the first company that I saw that had 8-string guitars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember.
That's and they're not cheap either. I had to sell a couple of my 7-strings to get that one made.
Yes.
And that was with an artist price.
Sure.
I still had to sell a couple of guitars. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I actually had them build me a 9-string at one time.
Nice.
High A to low F sharp. But they make some beautiful stuff like 36 fret guitars, and when you have that many frets, you only have one pickup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I would miss my neck pickup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And I'm not sure how usable those are when you get up that high, because it's just like, what do you put your pinky nail in there or something? I remember the Washburn. Did you remember the Washburn guitars that had 36 frets from back in the day?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, those were pretty sick. I ran across one of those a couple years ago in a pawn shop, and I should have bought it.
Oh, dude, you so should have got it. Was it the one with all like the cracked stuff?
Yes.
Oh man, what's wrong with you? You
I don't know, dude. I know, man.
Those are the ones, man.
Exactly. And on a different note, that guy that made the Nuno guitars with the Stevens cutaway, the Nuno Betancourt models.
Yeah.
Remember that neck joint that he had on his, the Stevens, I think it was Stevens cutaway or something like that.
Right.
They actually made an acoustic like that, where you could get way up there and play all the frets like that. And I was looking for one of those. That'd be cool. Always looking for something different and unique. You know what I mean? I like to see builders go where other builders aren't afraid to go. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think a lot of the bigger name companies are kind of set in their way or arrogant in thinking that, how dare you try to change our guitars? You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So I
excuse us for playing them and wanting to do something different.
Right, yeah, exactly. So that's cool, man. Manson, you said, right?
Yeah, the Manson brothers.
I just think it's Charles Manson when you say
that.
Yeah,
I know, man. That's the problem. So it's Hugh Manson and Andy Manson, and one is the electric guy, and one's more the acoustic guy. Cool guys, and just made some interesting stuff over the years, so worth checking out.
Well, dude, that's awesome, exciting stuff. Do you have any new stuff coming out with Jam Track?
No, I haven't done too much. I mean, last year I released my third part in the Masterclass series, which is it's like such a huge Masterclass series. I think there's enough for about 20 years work in those 3 Masterclasses. So yeah, each one had like 100 exercises. There were like 10 video lessons, and like 1 million backing tracks or whatever. So I felt like I especially with the whole lockdown thing, it made sense. I was like, right, I'm going to do 3 parts to this really comprehensive kind of masterclass thing. So that, I'm happy with that. It's such a big body of work. I just kind of needed to leave it there.
So I have never personally seen any of the stuff aside for some of the videos. I mean, I've never, as a product, do you get like tab booklets and stuff coming?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it all downloadable or?
Yeah. So if you were to like purchase one of the packages, you get like it's all down. You can either download it or stream it, but obviously if you stream it, then you got to keep the subscription or whatever. So if you pay for it, you get it as a download. And again, with my stuff, there's like 10 actual lessons where I'm sat talking about and discuss the topics, and then there are like 100 exercises literally performed that you can slow down, obviously, and there's a tab to every single one. There's 5 whole solos, all accurately tabbed. I mean, it's an insane amount of work,
Sure, dude.
So
and you do that all. Is this your home studio? Is this where you're at?
This is my home studio. Yeah. I record it all here, and then it gets professionally transcribed. And I've checked the transcriptions in the past, and they're always.
So you don't have to tab your own stuff out.
Thank God for that. Man.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you what software you use for that.
Oh man, I have no freaking idea what they do.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
But it's accurate.
But do you shoot the videos at your place too?
Yeah. Just shoot them and try and get it nailed in a day or 2 at most. I think I normally do. Yeah, I think I normally do the exercises on one day because 100 is a lot to get through. So I just do the 100 and then kind of chill for the day, and then the next and the 5 performances, and then the next day I just shoot like the 10 lessons over a bunch of hours.
That's pretty cool.
Send it off.
Do you, as far as the recording videos go, do you use a specific camera?
Yeah, I just have like a Canon, I can't remember, something 90D or something like that, 4K. It's pretty good.
Nice. You using any kind of green screen or anything fancy, or you just shoot sitting here and just go?
I just shoot it here and try and get a reasonable light and sort of angle so people can see what's going on, and yeah, and
you only use one camera for that?
Yeah.
So not another camera for a different angle or anything?
No, I mean, you see, the way I like to teach is I make it as one-to-one as possible in that instance. So what I mean is, literally like I am now, I'm like, yeah, so put your finger here, and then that's the concept. And then I'll show exactly, and I'll explain what I'm thinking and the concept behind whatever it is I'm teaching and showing. And it's not necessarily just stock licks. It's actually more concepts of how I think, which I think is something that is a bit more rare,
Yeah.
So
it's valuable too. So that the student can get inside your mind and understand why you created the lick or how or whatever. It's not just here's lick number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's a little bit more depth to it. That's cool, man. Awesome, dude. Very cool. So one more thing before we let you go, dude. We were going to talk about, you said in one of your videos you were getting a little heavier or exploring.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm working with a very good friend of mine who I've known for over 10 years now. And even though he's like technically works as like a keyboard dude, he sings really well. And we both have a love of rock together. And even though he's also does kind of dance production amazingly, but he's just, again, like we were saying about being musical, he's got a musical mind. He's great with production and mixing, but he loves rock too. So we started putting a bunch of ideas together, and I reckon we're sort of about 3 songs in, and we're working on a 4th and stuff. So the idea is to put those out soonish. I mean, we're just debating whether, because the first track's pretty much done, and we're like, do we just put 1 track out, or do we sort of do like a trio of tracks and go like, bam, there's the 3 tracks, and then start releasing 1 at a time? So we're just sort of thinking about that. Yeah, but it's cool stuff, man. I think so anyway, and it's just a bit more rocking and more song based rather than it's not instrumental. It's actually vocally led.
Very cool. So you say heavier. So what kind of heavier can we expect?
Oh, it's not crazy heavy, but I'd say like melodic heavy.
Okay.
I mean? For example, I mean, we've both grown up with listening to sort of Dream Theater kind of vibes as well.
Okay.
It's not that.
So it's going to be a little bit proggy in there.
Yeah, I think so. But more just sort of sonically. It's not. I like the idea of the melody leading, like the vocal melody leading, and the guitar not necessarily distracting too much. Like you want some cool riffs and whatever. But yeah, and of course there'll be sort of solos here and there. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're doing it because we love it anyway. We're not necessarily trying to change the world. It's just we're just getting off on doing this stuff and seeing how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I can totally appreciate that, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been very cool. I love what you're doing, man. You know what I mean? The cool stuff with your guitars, your instructional stuff, your music, and it's great to see guitar players like yourself constantly pushing yourself to new levels by challenging yourself and going multiple different directions and stuff like that. It's very, very cool, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Well, it's a
Very
pleasure
inspiring.
to be on it. Thanks for having me.